Get Unready with me. And I'm gonna talk about, instead of doing a mask I usually do with Masking and Bemoaning, and we're gonna do a review. I'm going to review the limited series Self-Made that was on Netflix. It's 4 episodes, so basically about 4 hours long, a little under 4 hours, about the life and times of Madam C.J. Walker. It is important to note that this is inspired by, not based on, a true story. Those 2 words are gonna get y'all caught up. Okay, and I also have my little notes on my phone and all this. It stars Octavia Spencer, who also serves as one of the executive producers. She stars as Madam C.J. Walker. Her real name is, Sarah? I want to say Sarah Burton. That does not sound right, but she's C.J. because she got Madam C.J. Walker. She's married to her 3rd husband, who is C.J. Walker, played by, Blair Underwood, who, he heard that somebody needed a bad husband, so here he is. Although he did not start out that way. So we do see a breakdown in their relationship. We get Garrett Morris, famous if you have seen him on Saturday Night Live, Martin, etc. Legendary comedic great. He plays Cleopas, who is CJ, that's Blair Underwood's father, who lives with them. Tiffany Haddish is in this. She plays Madam C.J. Walker's daughter, her only child, Alea. And we also have Carmen Ejago. I don't know if I'm saying that right. She played Coretta Scott King in Selma. That's what I can think of her from. I've seen her in other stuff, but that's what I think of from. I think she was married. I don't know if they're still, let me look since I'm looking. Are they still? No, they're not married anymore. She was married to Jeffrey Wright. I was like, I knew that they were, and she's British. So there's that, and she plays Annie. Ooh-wee. Why can't I think of that? Annie Malone. Although the real character's name is Annie Malone. That's what's getting me switched up. But she's playing a character called Addie Malone. So yeah. And while I'm talking about this movie, I'm going to take off my makeup. First, let me hand sanitize because you know what time it is. Alright. So this is in the middle of Women's History Month, which is March. It's Women's History Month. So I guess this is why this was released now instead of, which I say now, like last weekend, versus in Black History Month. But that's cool because Black History is supposed to be, like Tom Jordan says, 24/7. 365 So yeah, and I do want to point out before we do this, I had time to watch. I was thinking about not reviewing this, but I watched it and I have time. What I'm using to take off my makeup is the Tatcha Pure One Step Camilla Cleansing Oil. There she is. I need to hold up something in the background as I change out of my one set of, day pajamas to night pajamas. Okay. So with this one, you just rub it in and you know how to use the cleansing oil. Or at least you'll see. Alright. So, the thing that's getting a little... Okay, I will say overall, and I'm going to actually put in a grading system when I talk about stuff from now on. We're going to do like 5 stars or whatever, or lollipops, whatever. Stars, mermaids, whatnot. 5 stars. Just keep it simple. 5 being the highest that we can go. And how you would rate this. The rating will come at the end of it, as you normally do. I do want to say that I watched this. I had time. I watched it all in one setting. Because I've just been up. I don't know about anybody else. And I have always been curious about Madam C.J. Walker. Although I know generally about Madam C.J. Walker, but I could know more. I'm sure as we all could. But she is the first female self-made millionaire. Not just black, female. So that is also probably another reason why it came out during Women's History Month. Okay. In America. So let me just do that as a caveat too, so don't get too confused. And with this is one step and you basically wet it. So I am going to take my Too Faced Hangover 3-in-1. Sorry, my hands are gross. There we go. And I didn't know if you could see the bottle of this, so let me do that real quick. Yeah. All right. So that is what I'm using to take it off. All right. So I do with this is not a biopic. I guess that's what the point I'm trying to get across. Since it is based around, like, there's stuff in it that's true, but it's not the whole truth. It's more like a true-ish kind of world. So I can get on to the things that I liked. Loved Octavia Spencer. Loved. I love the bulk of the cast. Also, you know who was a good, also like I wish we would have seen him more, Bill Bellamy. He played Ransoms, who is basically the Walker's right-hand man. He's their lawyer, CEO, and all that good stuff. And he stayed on and he helped her build her legacy. Even with the generational wealth that we know that she's experienced into. Because even in the last 5 years or so, there had been a resurgence of even her products. I know her products came back on the market under the CJ Walker brand, that they were in Sephora for a little bit, and I didn't get to try them because I was on my, as you know, natural health niche. I had too many products already, black on and otherwise, and it was just like it was getting to be too much. So I had never tried it. I didn't hear too many people who were not hair vloggers. I didn't hear too many people in life talking about it. That doesn't mean that they weren't good, but they came back. So her main product that is being shown in this, and we do see the correlation between her and Annie Malone, that they were selling hair grower. Because as the story begins, it does not begin at the beginning of her life. Because again, this is not a biopic. It shows us that she is working as a washwoman. She is on her third husband. Right now we think that she was married when she was like 14. She was widowed by the time she was 20. Her child that's played by Tiffany Haddish, which Tiffany seemed too modern for this piece. She seemed out of place. But there were other things that were out of place, like some of the musical selections. So that goes to things I didn't care for. I won't even say that I hated it. I just didn't care for it because it just took you out the scene. Which some people do that well in their movies of using modern music in the stories that are set in the past. Like, I did not love The Great Gatsby. I love the book. I did not like Baz Luhrmann's version of The Great Gatsby, but the music was fire. And they kind of adapt, but they still kind of did them in the same kind of style of the 20s. But you know, that's when we got jazz and etc., prohibition and whatnot. Also, you know, of the other things I've been watching, I finished watching Boardwalk Empire again. This ain't got nothing to do with this, but it was set in the 20s, so that's why it came out. It's like, do y'all want me to review that, even though that's like 5 seasons long? It's worth watching, and that too is historical, true-ish fiction. So that's along the same line. Some things are not biopics of people, but it's true-ish. There are real people. Some of the things that happen are true. I'm okay with that. They tell you that I like when they tell you that this is true-ish, And so a lot of stuff that happened on the show, just like in Self-Made, happened in real life. However, that may not be the 100% correct actual happening, if you get my drift. Because I know some people were mad about, yeah, so you're harping on the wrong thing. Like, she did have beef with Annie Malone. But I think it was more personable, which, I mean, it's personal in the movie. And Carmen, the actress, plays her very well. But it did get to be a bit grating towards the last couple of episodes because, well, keep in mind it's only 4 episodes of this limited series. So it was just like, okay, we get it. Colorism is also a big theme that is coming up, even though I don't necessarily... It's an issue, but between them and real life, like Madam C.J. Walker is not, if you've seen a real picture of her, which I'll insert one here, and she's not particularly a dark person, but that also we can go into like some texturisms, and I know I'm throwing a lot of isms at you and people don't think that's true, but there's a difference between having, people don't want to acknowledge it, like all curls, same thing that they do with colorism. All curls are good curls and all shades of black are all this. I said, yeah, that's true, but let's not lie and act like there's not a preference to something that looks more European. So there's that. But their conflict basically, going back to Madam C.J. Walker and how it begins. She is under stress. She wants to get out of her circumstances, which just already setting us up for like a good hero story, setting us up. She wants to get out of her circumstances. She does not want to be a watchwoman her whole life. She has had a hard life so far, to the point that she's stressed out. She's so stressed out that her hair starts falling out, and she starts getting treatments by Annie Malone, or Addie Malone, in this version of their version of events in Self-Made. And she wants to become a salesperson for her, but she was like, well, you're not right. Basically, you don't have the right look. You don't have the mulatto, mixed, loose curls, slim, kind of things going on for her. Now, is that true? I think that might be in part where there was some liberties taken. And I also want to point out that this is also produced by Casey Lemons, who is the same person who is responsible for Harriet. So take that what you will. I'm also on this kick about, with black films and movies and things like that, it does not have to, why do we always have to push like, you need to see this? Sometimes, no, you ain't gotta see it. I don't think you got to see this. Self-Made. You didn't have to see Harriet. It's not historically accurate. But they're the same brunch that was like when Beast, now I'm gonna say Beast of No Nation. That is not it. Birth of a Nation. You should watch Beast of a Nation, done by Carrie Fukunaga. But I only want to watch that once. It's also on Netflix. That's about African war children that were basically child soldiers in Africa during it's an unnamed African country, which is annoying. But when they were doing war and had these children that were child soldiers. That's worth looking at. It's heartbreaking, but beautifully shot. Yeah. Love it. Idris Elba is in that as well. He is the name. That I know he does a great job in that as well. But back to this. That like Birth of a Nation. People are like, you got to see Birth of a Nation. Before, it came out about, it was supposed to be about Nat Turner and his enslaved people's revolt. We try not to call people slaves. I'm putting on Peter Thomas Roth's Fermex peeling gel. I'll show you in a minute. Let me put in this. And this is how I actually put this on. Because you put it on the spots and you rub them out on a dry face, and it's supposed to get rid of the dead skin. This is like the only product that I do this with. I hate that thing on YouTube and social media where people put the oil on it. I'm like, put it in your hand. But let me see. This is what it is, and it's reflective. It's probably can't see it because of my light. Ew. Fermex. Okay, so but people like, the set of the a certain set of Negroes, anytime anything historical-esque comes out, that regardless of what the person has going on with their life, which they were saying for Nate Parker, when all that, you know, those rape allegations and, or his rape case, even though he was not guilty, he did not handle it well. But they were still like pushing it like it's something you needed to see. And then you could watch it after a certain time. It was on, you know, one of those networks that everyone has. I'm sure you can find it somewhere for free. It is so historically inaccurate. And it's just not, it is not worth watching. It's like, here's the thing about Nat Turner. Nat Turner, not to be confused with Nate Parker, when he was like, we doing slave revolts and we killing everybody, he killed everybody. He did not spare the children. He did not spare the wife. Because he viewed them all to be a problem of the racist society, which he is absolutely correct. As I can see, you sparing kids, Sebador, women and children, but sometimes, you know, that's almost biblical-esque, which would also line up with Nat Turner being a preacher, you know, when God was telling Saul, you know, to get rid of, or when he told the children of Israel to get rid of anybody, he told them, you wipe out everybody, leave no stone unturned. That means, you know, even the goats got to go. So that's how he was, but they softened it, and I don't know if that had something to do with him actually having a white wife and mixed children, that, you know, they softened that version of him. And it's just like, but if we're gonna tell it, why not tell the truth? Because that was being pushed up, it being like it's based on a true story. Well, that's not true. That's not what happened. You know, same thing with Harriet. Harriet is like, first of all, Cynthia Erivo was all wrong for Harriet, but they like tried to make like a softer version, and there was like a white, not necessarily a white savior, but there's like, for some reason, like the worst person in it was, you know, a black slave catcher, but not this man who had, you know, beat her to the point that she suffered from narcolepsy from the rest of her life. So that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so keep that in mind. So that's the difference between it being some things you don't need to see. I loved the costuming. I loved the hair was on point. Which, you know, we're gonna be talking about hair and you don't have a good hairpiece in here, that would have been an issue. But, you know, a lot of black wigs and things that you see on television are terrible. I'm looking at you, Mr. Perry. All that money, and you in Atlanta, for that, all that hair, those wigs to be looking the way that they do. Terrible. So, anywho, back to what I was saying, and you just wipe it off with something wet. I'm just doing it with a wipe. Right now, I already washed my face today. I'm not double washing it. I'm just getting off my makeup and that dead skin. Alright, so, back to the story. Basically, Madam C.J. Walker steals Annie Malone, or she takes it, she modifies it. So, but if you modify it, even though it's the same kind of idea, but it's not the same, you stole it, but not really. So, she, you know, modified it, sold it, and started her own business. She had the business know-how. And, you know, Addie serves as her nemesis for the rest of the film, or the show. I would have liked to see, because I would have liked to see the real version of what actually happened, because we know it clearly was not a, if you look at the real version, I say clearly, but I'm just guessing, it could not be a colorist issue, because they are about the same shade. In fact, if you see a real picture of Annie Malone and Madam C.J. Walker, there, you know, Annie is darker than Madam C.J. Walker. So that's not it, but that does not mean necessarily, it could also be a class thing. You know, we like to overlook that too and try to, some things, it is a class issue. And I know that in a lot of, especially in our community, class and race and sex and stuff, all that intersects. So it's not, you know, within one one pot, so to say. It's all mixed up together. So they're not mutually exclusive. So that happens, and she is also focused more so on generational wealth. There's also an issue of respectability. So we see that with Booker T. Washington. Now, I have seen some people, they were like pissed of the way that Booker T. Washington spoke to her. I was like, but if you kind of read anything about her, while this may not be the exact conversation, it's not outside of the realm of possibility of this kind of conversation for them to have. If you know anything about Booker T. Washington, you know, if you read some of his things, like especially looking at it now at a 2020 lens, you will be giving him all the side eyes. You will see why him and W.E.B. Du Bois famously always butted heads, because they had two different philosophies on how to better the Negro race. But W.E.B. Du Bois does also makes an appearance. He also gave us the notion of the talented tenth, which got used in the wrong way. That's not his theory. People like only a tenth of people are smart enough to basically make it out to get him. It's what they were kind of taking that. It's like, no, it will be only a 10% that will, you know, rise above whatever station. You have to keep in mind that, you know, like even Madam C.J. Walker, she was born free, but she was born like 2 years after emancipation. Even Cleophas Garrett Morris's character, he was talking about they didn't know that they were free on his plantation until 2 or 4 years after. So that's what you're kind of dealing with too. So, and right after slavery, sharecropping, which is like slavery light, if you know anything about sharecropping, I can look on JSOR and get you some, because you got time. Read about sharecropping. I know that in my family, on both sides, we had sharecroppers. But yeah, when you read about it, it is slavery light. I don't know how else to describe it. Yeah. So moving on, I'm gonna spray on this Claire's Almond Pool Mist. It's next. Let that dry down. Okay. So there are issues between, which is the same stuff we're still arguing about now. Yeah, but people like, I couldn't believe that he would speak like that. I was just like, y'all don't know nothing about Booker T. Washington. That's not outside the realm of possibility. But I still am not going to discount how he helped the race. It does not, or how he tried to advance, even though I would look at him with, you know, a very harsh side eye. I'm not gonna judge this man who was, you know, literally born a slave. He, you know, just like people like, they didn't think he, it was just, oh, y'all just, ooh, y'all, some of y'all need to read a book about something else to just get off the internet and take this quarantine time to read. And so you would know some of this. You know, I recommend you reading some of his things. You don't have to agree with it, but I was like, I see where he's coming from, because he was more focused on the industrial sort of things. Just like the issue was basically even with Madam C.J. Walker, which this was real. He may not have spoke to her so breezy as he spoke to her in the film, but he had an issue with her talking about like hair. He thought it was a frivolity, like it's frivolous. But you know, but even like now, you see people talking about, well, instead of people focusing on, hey, these people have risen above their station, you'll have people that talk about folks, even, you know, with makeup and hair and all that kind of stuff, making their money now. I was like, but what difference does it make? They didn't have that. They're doing something to enrich it, and they should be supported. You know, I'm putting on watery oil drops. This is a serum from Claire's too. Okay. So that was real, but Madam C.J. Walker, you know, in real life, which I wish I would have went into this more, she was, you know, on some of those lists, not quite, but this is pre J. Edgar Hoover, so, you know, not quite blackmail, but, you know, the government was watching her because she, you know, helped with NAACP, because she did have a relationship with you know, a business kind of cordial relationship with W.E.B. Du Bois, again, who we see in the film as well. And he helped start NAACP. She helped, you know, back anti-lynching legislation and stuff like that. So helping getting people out of jail, all that kind of stuff. You know, actually trying to do it. She was part of the the National Colored Women's Club, which we had that at school too. So it's still an active organization, and they do a lot of great work. So, you know, we see that. So she was on, you know, those lists of, you know, agitators, people you gotta watch. I wish I would have went into that. I wish we would have seen how she made her millions too. We know she got it, like, I wish we would have focused more. We see she does end up she's had several deals to get into department stores. So did any of that come to fruition? I know she pulled out on the last episode because the door-to-door sales women did not, thought that would be cutting into their profits, which it would be. So I can understand why they were upset, and they held like a protest. But, you know, more focus on the business side. Like, we need to see more. I know, you know, besides the drama between her and CJ, because CJ cheats on her and ends up with another woman who used to be her saleswoman, that was fine. I wish we would see more just on the business, because there's a time jump in the last episode just to kind of get through it. I'm putting on the Clinique Moisture Surge Eye Gel. So we see that, and there's like a time jump, but I'm just like, girl, and how did you get approved? I just want to see, what did you have to go through anything? Because, girl, like, you're next door to to Rockefellers. Like, I want to see more of that. I want to see more of the business. Yeah, because that's, like I'm saying, that's one of the things, like, the light skin, dark skin thing got a little old. Like, I got it. And I'm not saying that that's not important, but it's like, okay, but what else? But what about the business savvy? And she taught all these classes and all this kind of stuff like that. I just wanted to see more of that. Like I said, I wanted to see more sweetness, Bill Bellamy's character, because we have people that are on that line of, you know, being respectable, keeping up with your family. It's interesting that her whole family basically lives with her, with Madam, and all of them work for her. So, you know, there's an issue. There's a side of, you know, generational wealth versus this is not what I want to do. Like Tiffany Haddish, it plays her daughter. She does not want to go into the hair business. That's not her passion. But do you do your passion versus do you keep the family is making the family's bread and butter together? I'm not really gonna touch on her daughter being a lesbian because I feel like they said it, but it's just like, but okay, but what about it? It's just like, okay, she got married, but that was even that some of those are not fleshed out. We never knew what she really wanted to do, and I don't know. And Tiffany Haddish was one of the things I didn't like because it just seemed like she was just out of place. It's not even, and some of that can be writing, some of that can be her. It was just like she was just out of place. So, yeah. So what, at the end of the day, that's a general consistency. You see the lives and times of Madam C.J. Walker. What I would suggest you do is read some books and read some more things upon her. Because, girl, ladies, gentlemen, she, her, they, them, y'all have time to read up on this. And, you know, a quick little Googles will get you some information. Of course, it's not 100% accurate. That does not bother me. I like the way this looked. I am actually going to give this 3.5 stars because it was good, but it's worth watching because you ain't got nothing else to watch. You can get the general basis about what went on in her life. It intrigues me enough to go read more about Madam C.J. Walker and to read up more on some of the other historical figures that we've seen in it. But I just thought some of the choices were weird. Like the thing with some of the modern music, but it didn't like mesh well. Like when they went to Harlem for the first time, they played like Harlem Shake music and not like the original Harlem Shake, like that techno thing where they were trying to bring it out, talking about that's the Harlem Shake, where it's just people doing random stuff. So there's that. So it is worth a look. I do not think that is this the best black biopic ever? No. Is it the worst? No, it's just really okay. That's why I gave it 3.5 stars. So tell me what you guys think. I guess if you wanted to see a biopic on somebody, who would you want to see it on? Like a real one. I know that things, and we also need to keep in mind that it's still Hollywood. Things are not perfect. I wonder how long it actually took them to get this made. It did come, and it is on Netflix. It's not in the theaters. I don't think it would have did as well if it went to the theaters. But it's a nice story. Gives you the gist of what went on. Too, that this is, it's based on a book. I'll insert the book because I can't recall the title right now. So that is worth reading that too if you want to start your journey about reading on Madam C.J. Walker. So there's that. What do you want me to talk about next? I recorded a video for on my blog, but my camera or the card or something messed up and it was all janky and I have to redo it. So I am going from henceforth and going forward with these. I am actually going to do a rating system. Some things, because they are series and not necessarily short series, they're going to be more than one part. I am actually going to try to do, a few episodes together. With the next one I do on my blog, I'm going to do the whole 3rd season. It's not a long season, it's 8. It is 8. It's the same amount of time though, because it's on their episodes are only 30 minutes long. It's the same amount of time as self-made actually, because there's 8 episodes and they're 30 minutes apiece, so that's what, 4 hours. Quick math. So, that is worth you looking at too. Is there anything else you want me to see? Anything? What are y'all watching? What are you doing to pass the time? I need some more books to read. Like I said, I have been, I have gone back and watched things that I didn't think I would be watching. You know what I still haven't watched? Even though I clearly have time, I still have not watched The Irishman. I love a good shoot 'em up gangster movie, but I feel like Martin Scorsese be trying my patience. I'm like, why is this movie 3.5 hours long? It's trying my patience. I don't know if I got the wherewithal to stay and watch that in one sitting, but it ain't like I ain't got nothing else to do. Like I got something else to do. Just getting out the store to go get groceries and medicine. That's that's it. We're social isolating and sitting down. Can't nobody go to work. Here we are, but we still have our health. Hope y'all are staying healthy. Thanks for tuning in. I'll keep coming up with more stuff. Hopefully you watch it. I'll try to keep it a little shorter next time. Yeah, stop trying to say so much, and hope you guys like this. Remember that Nessie loves you. Bye. Oh, I didn't tell you guys my moisturizer. I use the Renewed Hope in a Jar water cream. It is from Philosophy. And my term is, yeah, from Philosophy. And I got this little spoon from an old Tatcha water cream, because I should have probably saved that jar, because that jar is nice, but the spoon is about how much you actually need to be using. Alright, so that's that on that, and thanks for tuning in, and remember Nessie loves you. Bye!